Hi, I'm Teresa. I am a volunteer at Kickstand, and I have been a volunteer here for the past 4 years.
I'm Rowan. I have been volunteering at Kickstand since I moved here to Vancouver in 2019. I've just gotten kind of bit by bit a little bit more involved with the organization, getting on the board, I guess, last year or a year and a half ago, and then started as director at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, so we are located at 1187 Parker Street, which is close to Venables and Clark in East Vancouver, and we are open Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 5 to 9, and Sundays from 1 to 5 for the general public, and then on Thursdays we offer an access night for women, trans, and queer folk. That's a night where all the volunteers are part of those communities, and as a shop user, you're invited to join if you're part of those communities.
Yeah, and then so those are our open hours where we are kind of trying to focus on, I guess, maybe the organization's main value, which would be like education and empowerment of community members through like teaching bike mechanics. But then we run off-hours programming too. Could be any time.
Yeah. For volunteers to participate in different aspects of the services we deliver. Yeah. So when you come into the shop, the idea is that you will have access to all the tools in the shop and access to the volunteer support here, and there are folks available to either show you how to do something or teach you how to do something really, or learn with you together on how you can repair something on your bike. And it's a sliding scale to access the shop, except on Thursdays. We don't have an expectation of paying for shop time, and we have a ton of used parts, so there's quite a lot of affordable pieces around here if you're looking to replace something on your bike. And really importantly, it'll be a hands-off educational space, so you'll be the one learning how to fix your bike with the guidance of someone. And yeah, it's also sometimes a lot of fun to come into the shop. We often just have other shop users or volunteers like hanging out. It is also one of our core values to focus on the circular economy and to focus on reducing waste and reducing things going to waste in whatever sense of the word. So we try and set up these recycling stream programs, and we have a really big focus on refurbishing bikes. So, we'll have big bike sales every once in a while, and we have bikes available for folks to come in and purchase most of the time. And those are all bikes that have been donated to us that maybe otherwise would have been sitting in a condo, going to waste, or ended up at a landfill. And we also actually it's a service that we provide to the community in general. Like if you're looking to get rid of bikes that are just bad and they need to be, no one's gonna ride them, we'll strip that bike down and recycle it, and for steel, aluminum, and that kind of thing, as well as other recycling ventures too. So I think really overall Kickstand is aiming to be accessible, to be low barrier, provide this educational space, provide a space that empowers people, as well as provide these sort of recycling services for the community as a whole.
We call it Welcome Wheels, but and that's like we ask the community for bike donations, and then we run shifts for volunteers to train them, teach them bicycle mechanics so that they can develop those skills for themselves and be more helpful in the shop. And we fix up those donations, and then we give them to Rainbow refugees while we do a bike matching. So they have, they've decided on a number of people who need or deserve or whatever a bike, and we get the bike for them, we set them up with it, we fit it to them, and teach them a little about it if we need to, and then that's the partnership, and they help us fundraise for that. So they have a commitment to give some hundreds of dollars per bike that we give to their members. Yeah, and that's been a little successful. We have gotten some bikes out the door, but it's something that's kind of been building up. What's another example of our programming?
We have a new programming that we just found out about this week. We're very excited. This week in March 2023, we just got a grant from the Greenest City grant from the City of Vancouver to have a similar kind of partnership with an organization called the Aboriginal Mothers Centre Society. We'll do bike matching with some of the women that live in that in the Aboriginal Mothers Centre Society, and they have kids as well that will have access to bikes and other programming that we'll be delivering as part of that. And then I think we're good at financial accessibility. I think like any organization, we have room to grow in terms of accessibility for other communities. We have these access nights for women, trans, and queer folk, and we are always talking about other ways we can reach out to other communities that might also need our services. But it is an aim that we have to be as accessible and inclusive as possible, and to be as low barrier as possible, whatever that means. Yeah. Whatever kind of barriers you might face, we do aim to do the best that we can, and I think we're always open to learning more. We want to learn more about ways that we can better serve the different communities. Yeah.
Getting involved at Kickstand, like the best part of that was the opportunity to teach one-on-one. I feel like I'm probably not alone in that. Mm-hmm. In some of the most kind of satisfying and rewarding stuff you can do at the shop as a regular volunteer is meeting someone who's coming to the shop, maybe even for the first time, and then getting to use your experience and your knowledge to teach them about kind of, I don't know, how cool bikes can be and how fun they can be to work on, and how it's really not out of anyone's reach to fix their own bike. And that can be very rewarding when someone, realizes, maybe for the first time that a new skill or something like that.
And I started as a shop user. That's how I became part of this community. I came in because I had a bike that needed fixing, and I was too stubborn to pay some white man to do it for me. So I came in, and one of the things that was so inviting about this space was that I was really meant to learn myself, but with a lot of support and guidance from so many knowledgeable volunteers. And so just being able to be hands-on and feel empowered to learn myself was so rewarding, and also empowered me in other ways in my life, because one of the other reasons why I wanted to learn was so that I could feel comfortable going out to do bike trips by myself or with friends, and not feel like I was going to be reliant on them or strangers to fix my bike if there were any issues. I have definitely experienced this with folks who come in and maybe don't really realize that we truly mean it's DIY and that we're just here to help you. But it's something really magical to see someone kind of start to get the hang of something. And I've had so many people tell me how excited they are. We help them learn how to fix a flat tire, and they'll leave the shop that night. And I've had so many people tell me, I'm so excited now, like if I'm biking, I'm not gonna be worried about getting a flat. All I need are 2 tire levers and a patch kit and a pump, and I know what I need to do. And it can be so gradual, the education of learning how to fix your bike. You just learn a little small thing, and then you feel a bit more comfortable, and then you learn another thing another time, and it's no pressure to like learn the whole system. You can just do the easy stuff first. We're really here to learn with you. I'm like a beginner to medium mechanic, I would say, and I will usually at least once a night on the night that I'm volunteering, I'll pull up YouTube and sit with someone, and we'll watch a instructional video how to do something, and we're really here to learn together, so you're not on your own to learn. There is support here for you, and it can be kind of fun and kind of cool to use your brain and your hands in a way that maybe you're not used to doing. And it's just a really nice feeling to be able to be biking around and knowing that you can address those little issues with your bike on your own. really important thing to me that Kickstand offers is a community space. I think of Kickstand actually in many ways as one of these third spaces. You don't have to pay to be here in any way. You can come and hang out. The other day we had a shop user that like sat on this couch and took a class that they were doing on Zoom, and that was awesome. It was like super fun, and we have a big focus on community building events. Like we have potlucks and we have social events and that kind of thing. Christmas parties.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah,
like the community is kind of this undercurrent to everything we do, and it's the reason why I'm here. I am here because I care so much about this community, and like Rowan said, he made his first friends here, and that is, I think, for so many people what keeps them coming back to Kickstand.
Yeah, the coolest thing about Kickstand is being a volunteer here, and it's like the whole place is a huge group effort, and there's a lot of time and
countless hours,
blood and sweat, from volunteers here, over the last 10 years or whatever. Not least of all, like volunteers like Teresa, who kind of go the extra mile with taking responsibility for some important work, or other people on the board who come to meetings every month, and so just tons of stuff. But then just every volunteer comes into the shop and is here to keep the place organized and help the other community members, just the whole thing.
We are basically 100% volunteer run. We have one paid staff, and the rest of the shop stays open because we have volunteers doing basically everything, and that's pretty remarkable. And I think anyone who has anything that they feel like they could offer would find a place for that energy here at Kickstand. We have volunteers who do so many sorts of things, and it's all so valuable and so important to our community, that work that all the volunteers put in.
Yeah, if you want to volunteer with Kickstand, you can go to the website, which is www.eastvankickstand.org, and click around on the page till you find a link for volunteering. And I think it's just an email that you send.
And then you'll get oriented, probably maybe by someone like Rowan.
Yeah.
Rowan does a lot of volunteer orientations.
Or by Kelsey.
Who's in the shop right now. And then after that, you can start volunteering. And really, when I started volunteering, I was a very bad mechanic, or I just didn't have a lot of skills mechanic. And that's so welcome. There are so many different things you can do, and it's a really, really good way to learn, because you get to come in and hang out with other folks who maybe know a little bit more, and everyone's so happy to help you also learn as a volunteer, not just as a shop user. So it's really wonderful in that way too. It's a great way to kind of increase your bike mechanic skills if that's something you're keen on doing.